Martin Luther King brought to light that things weren't really getting any better. To me, it seemed like, because they was taking down all role models from schools and people who were standing up and making points of value. And I was kind of depressed during that part that there was going to be something serious going on because of the killings in Philadelphia, Detroit, LA, where people would stand up for their right and they would be slaughtered. And a lot of innocent people died for just standing up for their rights, so it was depressing.
Also some significant things in '68. You had Robert Kennedy assassinated in LA after winning the California primary for Democrat nomination for president. You had '68 also Richard Nixon is elected president. You have Shirley Chisholm is elected as the first black woman to U.S. Congress. So big switch in politics was going on at that time of you graduating as well. '69 you have the Woodstock Festival in New York. You recall the Woodstock event, and they also had Sesame Street dropped in '69. So up until 1969, for our audience, there was no Sesame Street going on, or Woodstock happened during that time. Do you recall what that was like? That not significant?
In those days, the kids were looking at Captain Kangaroo, which was something similar to that. And as far as Woodstock, every summer in Houston we would have a jazz festival, which consisted of Wes Montgomery, Jimi Hendrix, name brands like that, that Bobby Humphrey, which would have a big major jazz concert in Houston for 2 days, jazz Friday and Saturday, closing out on Sunday. And we had many entertainers, and it was a big thing, something very similar to Woodstock, but it was mostly black motivated.
Brings us to the 70s. So here it is. 69, you graduated, you're out of school. 70s, you have the public broadcasting system that began. Speaking of Jimi Hendrix passes of an alleged overdose at age 27. Did the death of Jimi Hendrix, being that you liked his music and was a fan at that time, being a kid, did it affect you in any type of way? Or
yeah, that affected me, and also Wes Montgomery, who passed away, where during the process he was supposed to be at the jazz festival, and he passed the day before. And this was Houston Astrodome where it was being held, and this was one of the first times that I had seen actually the big screen TV. They made the announcement that Wes would not be performing, he had passed, and then they flashed up on the big screen TV Wes Montgomery playing the guitar, you know, playing his name brand song, California Dreaming, and it just really freaked everybody out to the big screen. And there Wes was in live in living color when he had passed the day before, and normally he would have been performing on that stage that day. So it was very sobering to see that, and it was just one of those things. We enjoyed that.
Okay, so what high school did you graduate from?
Ralph Bunce High School. Ralph J. Bunce.
Ralph J. Bunce.
Yeah,
that was in Crockett?
That was in Crockett. And from there, I went to Paul Quinn College in Waco, Texas, and I was active. I was in the Student Nonviolence Coalition, and I would travel from Waco to Dallas to meet with students that were now going to SMU and was trying to organize to get more black students at SMU. Some of my close friends that I'm still in contact with, like Dietrich Taylor, Charles Howard, James Howard, brothers, they all went to SMU, and I would come up and I'd take information back to Paul Quinn, try to get people to transfer students and exchange students to come to SMU, which I myself didn't want to go, but I wanted to be involved in the process of getting other people that was really wanted to get involved with it to go. And that was what was going on during that time.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing that you went to a HBCU, which is actually the oldest historically black college in Texas. They call it the Athens of Brazos. Is that how you pronounce it?
Brazos.
What does that mean? Like, what does that have? You recall the? I was wondering about
what now is
Athens. Like, what is that? What is that? They called it the Athens of Brazos.
The Brazos River ran
It's a river.
It's a river ran near there, and the actual meaning I don't know, but I would consider it being something to do with Greek mythology, whereas being first of a kind, and bringing up standards.
Okay. And you attended Paul Quinn College when it was actually in Waco, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And because a lot of people may not know it was in Waco once upon a time, so you attended a historically black HBCU. This is 1970, correct?
I went from 68 to 71.
Okay, 68 to 71. I would imagine you met quite a few people who may be known today, including you spoke about maybe going to class or being about something about Freddie Haynes or Ricky Rush.
Yeah, they were friends of some of my associates from SMU at the time, which they're a little younger, but they were associates with some of the black students at SMU, and they knew these people and they wanted to be connected to the SMU system and try to get recognition at the time when they were trying to start the small churches in the neighborhood, like Freddie Haynes and Ricky Rush. Well, I think both of them originally started in Pleasant Grove. One was in the Pleasant Grove area, Ricky Rush. Freddie's was in the Oak Cliff area, but they were very small churches which grew.
Okay. And for some reason I have penciled in Pastor Cleo Seal. Does that ring a bell?
That's Constable Cleo. Cleo became a judge.
Okay.
Judge Cleo Steele.
Did he attend the HBCU or?
He attended all black college, and then I think he did some associate work at upper degree at SMU, if I'm not wrong. And in fact, he was a personal friend of my youngest son's uncle, L.C. Taylor Jr. They were associates in John Wiley Price, because L.C. Taylor Jr. was one of the black lawyers downtown who was affiliated with white lawyers until he got into his own practice. And he was well known with Cleo Steele, who was Judge Steele, and John Wiley Price, who was a clergyman for Cleo Steele. And they worked together in helping a lot of black men who got in trouble on accidental things to get bonded, get cleared, and not have to go through the ruckus of going through the white system. He kept it out the black system. And so
yeah, John Wiley Price, that ring a bell, because I really like and got a profound respect for John Wiley and what the image that he upheld. Even when I didn't understand it as a kid growing up in Dallas, he kind of seemed like he was a brother that was standing for something and keeping it solid. And I understand why a lot of the older folks kind of shied away from spirits like that, John Wiley Price. So yeah, shout out.
with John Wiley, I was a personal friend, he's a personal friend of mine, and I went to several functions that he was involved in. I went to several candlelight visions when he was locked up downtown. We would meet downtown with candles. This was in the late 70s, mid 70s, and early 80s when he was jailed for minor things and for protesting. And we would meet down in the jailhouse for candlelight vision to get him released and all. And this was something that I was involved with, you know, during those times. I followed him through some of those situations. And John Wiley, he did great things, but he was mistreated, and to me, he was mistreated by some of his own people because they really didn't understand, and they would call it making waves. Don't make waves. But it wasn't making waves, it was standing up for your rights, which some people just didn't understand, and to this day, some still don't understand because some be saying that the kids with the Black Lives Movement are making waves. But more people are joining in now to accept that this has to be done, more than I saw in the earlier years. So now I see more older people who really see that there's no way out of this unless we come together and stand together, and they're accepting it more. Which if they had done earlier, no telling what kind of progress we would have made by now.
That's right. I totally agree with that. So during that time in college, you meet your wife, your very first wife. So can you tell us a little bit about how you met Miss Mary Newton, who is actually Tamara's mother?
At the time, her name was Mary Mitchell, and as her mother getting married when she was a teenager when her mother actually married this guy, because I was still married to her mother when she was 8. We had a nice apartment, we dressed nice, Tamara had all the devices she wanted. As far as a shotgun, living raised in the house, plus there are people out there who know, because I was well known and I was well liked, and she was well liked. And day to day, people want to know why, and I can't say nothing but I have no idea.